West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the War Room. I am your host, Cody. I have my companions here with me. We're going to do a quick roll call, and then we're going to get started. This roll call is brought to you by Spy Optic. Use Orange 20 to get 20% off. Shovix, why don't you kick us off with roll call?
Yep, I am Austin, now representing the 1 and 2 Chiefs.
Nice.
Cory, Broncos country.
And I'm Matt, also Broncos country.
And I'm Cody, representing Raider Nation. Unfortunately, all of us except for the Chiefs suffered a defeat, so we feel like we're back in the regular season as before. I do have to give myself a self-housekeeping note. I hope Jeff is watching. We'd love to announce that we have formally renamed the War Room Studio to JBW Solutions Studios. So from this point moving forward, Jeff and his crew at JBW Solutions, we have named the studio after them for being such phenomenal partners. So from now on, when we introduce the show, we are introducing it in the JBW Solutions Studio officially as of today. So shout out to Jeff. Thank you so much for being a fantastic partner with us. They're veteran owned, community focused, safety driven. They are phenomenal partners, and we have been loving our adventure with them. And they've given us some great news on our last episode. If you guys saw it with Brianna, when we had her on, he gave us some great news. So go back and watch that. And before we get into this episode, subscribe, follow, comment, all that good stuff as before. Gentlemen, we've had an interesting week 3 in the NFL season. I think I can speak for everybody. A lot of us had some heartache and a lot of interesting stuff that has transpired. What was your guys' initial thoughts from this past week of football?
Before we start, I kind of want to hear Matt's, because Matt had a pretty good point when we were on our group text about it's not so much being sad, it's more frustration. So, Matt, I'd like you to elaborate on that one.
Yeah, it's a lot. We've seen the social media the last couple of days, and everyone's out there calling for Bo Nix's job, and those are the ones that are overreacting. But the ones that are like truly fans, and we still believe in Bo and Sean Payton, it's frustration because now this is the second week in a row, and Zach Stevens actually brought up a good stat. Denver has not trailed in the fourth quarter through 3 weeks so far, and they're 1 and 2. This is the second week in a row the Broncos have lost by a field goal in the final seconds of the game, and it wasn't like a blown coverage, this or that. It's penalties that are keeping the drive alive. This is not a Sean Payton team. Sean Payton's teams are usually a little bit more disciplined. They were flagged 10 times for 90 yards. And a lot of them were on third down or a fourth down play, or I want to say there was one, they were punting. Mm-hmm. The Chargers were getting ready to punt, and Denver's coming back on for their second drive of the game. Nope, never mind. Sorry, that's a face mask or a holding. And now the drive is extended, and the defense has to come back on. So it's frustrating because all the woes that we saw last season, we're still seeing this season. Mm-hmm. And again, Zach Stevens brought up a great point, and pardon my French, but it's a new season, the same shit. It's a new game, the same shit. So that's the frustration. Something's got to give. Something has to change. Whether it's Sean Payton, and again, he's very old school, and it's getting predictable because we already know a screen is coming on every drive. There's a screen somewhere, whether it's on second or third down. There is a screen somewhere in that playbook on this drive, and it's like, enough, dude. They're not buying it anymore. You got to do something.
Yeah, and I'll kind of go on the flip side of that with the Chargers. Real impressed with Justin Herbert again. Now, I know we were talking before we came on here, the QB pressures and the QB hits. Took a lot of hits, but, I mean, their offensive line, we kind of knew that. They're beat up, but Nick Bonito and Coop were just making Joe Alt look real bad over their left tackle. I think Zach Allen had some good pressures. So, again, I still think in order to stay successful and to keep a clean season for the Chargers, you're still going to have to keep Justin Herbert healthy, because obviously – that's been the issue, is keeping Justin Herbert healthy. So I do think now that it's Omari and Hampton's show, it was a good showing by him. So now Harbaugh can maybe start implementing more of Harbaugh's style as far as the run game goes. That defense is still, they're still flying around. Derwin James had a really good game. He's my player of the game for the Chargers. Sack, it was 10 tackles, I think 4 TFLs. It was a big sack that he had. So he was looking just like, he is one of the better safeties, if not the best safety in football, in my opinion. So again, yes, frustration on the Denver side, but I'm also going to make sure that we do give the Chargers their flowers, because again, they're finding So, and I'll get into the Broncos stuff here shortly, but for the Chargers, good showing for Justin Herbert. It's a good sign for them. I still think they'll find a way to keep him healthy as far as getting that running game back and going, so that he's not taking 14 hits. Because Denver still lack of blitzing, but they didn't really have to when they were getting good pressure from Bonito and Cooper and those guys up front. So going forward, we'll see how that goes. So not going to get any easier because the Giants are coming in. So, and we saw what the Giants were able to do as far as the pressures go against Kansas City. Well, now you're going to have to deal with that as well. So good showing from the Chargers. Respect what they're doing, and let's see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, a lot of good points. Honestly, too, I think we were talking about this right before we restarted, but, Justin Herbert has looked a lot better than what we anticipated. And credit to that, too. And I think the thing that the Broncos came across is they came across a team that's probably poised to go pretty deep in the AFC. And there's nothing wrong with that. Harbaugh coaches a good team. They had, good structure, good offense, and that defense is playing a lot better than I think a lot of people anticipated. And also, too, I think one of the things offensively that the Chargers should be credited to is the amount of bodies that they have to put at offensive line. Not only did they not have their number one tackle on the opposite side because they lost him earlier this offseason, obviously they had Joe Alt, but they also had Mekhi Becton that went out for a majority of the game. I think he missed almost the entire game on Sunday against the Broncos, and yet, granted all the hits and all the pressures that Justin Herbert had, they were still able to run the ball effectively, and Herbert was still able to throw for 300 yards against a really tough Broncos team, which I was kind of shocked. I thought the Broncos would maybe shut that down a little bit. But again, I think maybe we're selling too short that offense and how dynamic it is. And not to say that the Broncos don't have a good defense. It's just that offense, they were clicking. And, I think we even talked about this offline. We'll get this in the Crossfire and in the MILF report, maybe when we do our Seggies, that, Bo Nix should have done a little bit better on an offensive side to keep the Broncos maybe even more competitive or seal the game. And you can just see the separation between Nix and Herbert. I think we can all agree on this past Sunday.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of where I'm having a hard time with some of the Bronco fans is I get it. The frustration's there with the 3 missed passes, but they're there, right? Like the scheme, Sean, I'll give Sean his credit. He schemed up really good play calls there when they needed it. Bo's got to be able to make those throws. And again, we'll get into that shortly. But before we get into the Chiefs real quick, I do want to say Jesse Minter is going to be a head coach next year. There's going to be a lot of turnover with coaches. Jesse Minter is going to be a head coach next year. He's got this defense going. He's got them flowing. So again, that's week 3. So I'm not going to sit here and say, we'll get into that obviously deeper into the season. But I do want to say Jesse Minter is going to be a head coach next year, and he's going to be a damn good one.
100%.
Shout out to Jeff too. He did comment after we'd made the announcement that the studio that we are recording out of now is going to be JBW Solutions Studios this point forward because of their partnership. And he reads, and you guys can see it on the screen too. Truly honored to be a part of the War Room. It's a real pleasure to associated passionate group. Yeah, and honestly too with Jeff, his partnership and what he's been able to help us with, because we've had some calls with him and it's been great. And so it's been phenomenal partnership. So I think we are ready to get started, guys. We're going to start with Seggy 1, which is my Seggy. And unfortunately, it's going to be about my Raiders. I'm going to try not to crash out on this episode because I'm frustrated to no end with how the Raiders played on Sunday against the Commanders. And here I was talking about, I felt like the Raiders maybe could do a better job at competing against upper echelon teams. And I felt like the Commanders were one of them. And I was completely wrong. Our run game is worse this year, it looks like, compared to last year. And I felt like we had worse running backs, but our offensive line has taken a huge step back. I think Pete Carroll's sons are the ones that are calling the offensive line and their run game coordinator not going great at all. Like, we need to go back to the drawing board with that. The Raiders are also not starting JPJ at center, which is causing this continuity. The offensive line can't protect Geno. They can't protect the run. We're terrible. We cannot have the 6th overall pick, Ashton Genty, only rush for 3.7 yards per carry. His one lonely long carry of 18 yards essentially is what helped him even eclipse like past 70 yards. But we can't get that going. Geno Smith doesn't have time to throw the ball. And when he does, he throws it into double coverage. He didn't have a turnover this game, but the offense was not getting anything going because there's no protection for Geno. The only shining spot that we had was Trey Tucker, which he's been a hidden gem, but he had a garbage time touchdown. The Commanders pretty much had us at arm's length the entire game. And I think what I'm frustrated with is we have Pete Carroll, who's supposedly the culture setter, which I believe he's done, but we still have the same, and I'll pardon my French for this one too, Matt, the same bullshit that we've had since last year. Poor offensive line, defense that doesn't know their assignments, blown coverages. We have no idea how to play call. Apparently, Chip Kelly forgot how to do that, which was one of my concerns when we hired him. Is I don't know if Chip Kelly's the right guy, but everyone is saying that he did really well at UCLA. Let's see how it goes. Same shit. Looks like Luke Getsy all over again, and it's frustrating. And I think I texted you guys that we look like the worst team in the NFL. You guys said clearly not, and I was like, we look pretty close to it. Like 24 points, majority in garbage time doesn't look great because if we're supposedly ready to make a push in the AFC, we're nowhere close. We're an offensive line away. We are a top 10 pick away. We look like we're ready to go for a top 5 pick at this point. And that's frustrating because I'm tired of that. I'm ready for the change, whatever that looks like. 5th head coach in 7 years or whatever the thing is. And yet we still do the same shit. And I'm tired of it. So I'm trying not to crash out because I'm feeling hot already, but it's absolutely frustrating to see the Raiders do the same thing that they've been doing. And our next game, if I'm not mistaken, I'll double check the schedule, is against the Bears, who they just came off of a pretty hot win against the Cowboys. I'm not nearly as confident as I was last week about our chances with them. I'm now wondering, is Caleb Williams going to have a career day on us? Which is possible because our secondary, our defense is not that great. Max Crosby doing it on his own. Austin, you had asked me, what happened to Malcolm Koonce? I don't know. APB's out for him. We're waiting until he shows up because no pressure defense since the Chargers game, and it's been frustrating. So I'll kick it off with that. So what do you guys think?
Start it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're a unhappy Raiders fan, which is pretty common. We've gotten used to that over the years, but yeah, I agree. I'm surprised a Pete Carroll team could look this bad, given how much there is talent on this roster. Let's not act like there's not. Now, as a Chiefs fan, I can understand all the talent in the world doesn't matter if your offensive line sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have to get that figured out because I do think that's the problem. You could say Genty's performing below expectation. Geno's performing below expectation. With them below expectation, obviously Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, probably going to take a step back. But it all just comes back to the offensive line. So is it the talent? Is it the coaching? Is it the scheme? Who knows? But right now, that has to get figured out, because if it doesn't, no offense to Geno, but Patrick Mahomes was able to overshadow a lot of that through the regular season, but you also working with the top 5 defense at that time. If the Raiders don't have an offensive line, they're not going to have a lot of opportunities to win games.
Right.
And so it's hard to get a good read on the Raiders in general, because that's where it starts. Are they a pretty decent team outside of that? Maybe. But you really can't get a good read until it's the offensive line. And that's why I always say everything starts in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of hype for Malcolm Kuntz and Tyree Wilson, but they've disappeared. So that's hurting the defense. And your offensive, I don't know if you have maybe one good offensive lineman, at least in position. I think
Colton Miller is good. He's a pretty good left tackle, but he's not elite. He's no Joe Alt, for example.
But he's a starter.
Yeah. And I even said this too, before our week 1, I was the Raiders could be a team that puts up 30 points, but also gives up 30 points. And now it's not even that. We don't even have time to protect Geno or AOC or Kenny Pickett, whatever the quarterback you want to throw in there. You can't, to your point, you can't win games if you don't have the trenches solidified.
No, and it's unfortunate, because I really do think the Raiders have offensively. I still think there's some holes defensively.
Yeah.
But offensively, outside of the offensive line, I think you can put the Raiders as stacked around the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Between Genty and Bowers and Michael Mayer and Jacoby Myers. Trey Tucker had a bust-out game. You guys have the talent, but none of it matters if the moment you say hike, the play is blown up. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you have.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought Pete would have that a little better coming into the season than what we've seen. I didn't think they would have a top 3 offensive line, but I thought they would look like they know how to play offensive line. And right now they really don't. And if that's not fixed, you guys won't win more than 2 or 3 games. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's how important offensive line is, though. I mean,
it's literally making or breaking this team. Last year, it was about the quarterback. Okay, great. Got the quarterback, but we did not address the offensive line, and we are paying for it in dividends, and it's bad.
And Pete and Chip they have to scheme it. Your offensive line's weak. You have a really good kind of gadget player in Trey Tucker. You got to use him more. Obviously, it is nice throwing 60-yard bombs to him the whole time, but you're not always going to have that luxury. You're going to have to get creative with it. Chip Kelly's not that kind of guy. Really surprised he decided he wanted to get out of Ohio State to come to the Raiders. And that's no shot at the Raiders. It's just look at the talent that he has, and Ohio State still has. So it was kind of weird. But he's not really that gadget guy. He's failed in the NFL when he's been in the NFL. They thought he was the next great thing coming from Oregon with his 80, 90, 100 plays per game, and the NFL was kind of like LOL, right? That's not going to be here. So Pete's got to have him. We talked a couple weeks ago about how you got to learn how to not to lose, and it's going to be a bumpy road for the Raiders until they figure out how to not to lose games. And right now, it's on the coaches. Right now, you're putting your faith in the coaches to have these guys ready. You're putting your faith in the offensive coordinator who's going to scheme up, hey, we know our offensive line's weak. What can we do to help our quarterback? What can we do to get Ashton Genty going? Because we've seen it break off the big runs and run guys over, but then after that, it's kind of like we're going to keep running it up the middle. No, that's not where his strength's been. Get him to the outside, let him get some steam going. So, again, it's disappointing in the sense of you would think Pete Carroll would have this ready to go, this operation rolling. But 3 weeks in, I wouldn't be excited if I was a Raiders fan right now with what I've had to see. And that's coming from a Broncos fan who's been bitching at his coach the last going to be 3 weeks. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I think you got to figure it out with Chip Kelly, or you got to get someone in there who's going to be able to scheme up what they have on offense.
Yeah. I think crazy stats to just show how bad the offensive line has been. Just to put a number, like a visual to it, Ashton Genty has 144 yards rushing on the year, but he has 145 yards after contact.
Right.
He has more yards after contact than he actually has yards on the season.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I love the clips of him trucking people, but where I need that carry to go 10 yards, not 2.5 yards, and you run somebody over. That's
You need him to hit people beyond the line, at the line, beyond the line, not him getting hit behind the line.
Right.
That's how bad their line has been, that he can't even get going.
Right.
Do anything.
And to hit you guys with some, some stats, like going into this game, this is just what the rankings were going into that game against Washington. 23rd overall offense, 11th in pass yards per game, 31st in rushing yards per game, and 31st in points per game. That's your offense.
Yeah.
So it's not, that's not going to do it. But again, a lot of people also have to understand this. Yeah, you have Pete Carroll. Yes, you have Chip Kelly, but you also have a new quarterback and you have a new running back. No one's played together before. No one's you have Geno and Pete. They were together in Seattle, but they didn't have Chip Kelly. Everyone's still trying to figure each other out. Yep. There's going to be growing pains. And it's not, I think a lot of people saw Harbaugh came into the Chargers. Look at them. They made a playoff appearance, and look at them now. They're 3-0. They're sitting pretty at the top of the division. So everyone kind of saw this and was like, why is it working for them, but not working for us? But there's a lot of other factors. Everyone's still trying to figure each other out. However, to Cory's point, Pete and Chip have to get on the same page. They have to figure out this offense, because you can't have the 31st ranked offensive, rushing yards per game. You can't play like that, especially with all these other teams that you have coming up that have top 10 run defenses. Yeah, the trucks are great. Him running over these big linebackers is great, but is it really that great if it only went 2 yards?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they need to get on the same page with each other. They need to get the players on the same page with each other. Everyone's still trying to figure each other out. This is a year where it's going to be a lot of growing pains. The Raiders may get probably 5-6 wins this season, but maybe next season, all right, cool. We figured out what didn't work. We know how each other are now. We know what pieces we need. So maybe next season you might see a little bit better results, but this is it's going to be growing pains this season for the Raiders.
But I'm tired of hearing.
I would expect them to look better, is my point.
Right. So as a Raiders fan, I'm tired of hearing the reasoning why we still suck is it's growing pains. We heard this with AP. We heard this with Josh McDaniels. It's like, okay, but for me, like in terms of roster, I think we can all agree here that the roster on paper is better right now than it was last year, right?
Yes.
I think we can on paper.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying what we've seen in the first 3 weeks, but on paper. So why are we worse? Like, we have Brock Bowers. We have Michael Mayer now that's more incorporated in the offense. We have a better run attack in theory. We have a better quarterback that can get the ball out. Trey Tucker is a more advanced wide receiver. We have Dante Thornton Jr., who we've heard all this hype from coming out of the draft. I mean, you guys on the show earlier this year, we were talking about how the Raiders did a really good job in the draft by getting Jack Besh and all these other players. And yet we feel like we're taking a further step back. And all we did was add a head coach that is supposed to get everyone on the same page. And this is very similar to last year when AP, like first time head coach, he couldn't get all this, but there's a lot of excitement about, okay, he's a culture setter. Looks exactly the same. If not, we're worse. And then that was what it was prior to all that. So I think what I'm frustrating is all this like growing pains. Like, when are we done growing? Because I don't see the growth.
And I totally get it. Again, Cory and I have been in the depths for like the last 10 years. Like we totally feel your pain. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You didn't just bring in a head coach. You brought in a new quarterback. You brought in a new running back. You brought in a new offensive coordinator. So you have more than just one new piece. Again, if you're looking at Harbaugh's success, Justin Herbert has been there for the last 5-6 years. He has chemistry with this team. Geno is just getting to know everybody still. So that's the point I'm trying to make with that. Yes, I get the growing pains. Like, you keep hearing it. It's frustrating. But Antonio Pierce came in with a quarterback who was already kind of familiar with this team. And didn't really have to like worry about getting their chemistry together because they already knew each other. Now he has to worry about getting on the same page with Chip getting on the same page with Geno getting on the same page with Jacoby and Trey and all these other people. So now there's more. So that's my point behind it.
I got you. No, I appreciate you talking me off the ledge, but I'm like, as you say that, I'm like, That's the phrase I've been hearing for 15 years. Like, I'm done. I almost said the F word. I'm done flipping growing.
Just win, baby.
Just win.
win. If we
just get an Al Davis haircut, you'll be fine.
All right, right on it. All right, guys, let's close.
Man. That's all it is. Like, figure out the offensive line, and you'll look like a team. That's where it is with them.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. All right, let's close out that seggy. Austin, your seggy's up, man. Go ahead.
I'm so excited because I'm actually gonna, Austin's aerial attack defense this week is the Chiefs secondary.
All right, moving on to the next seggy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and again, we know it's the it was the Giants, and it was Russell Wilson, but they were also coming off a 450-yard game where everyone was involved. Chiefs were kind of on the ledge. Defensively, the Chiefs did what they were supposed to do, which is the first time I can say that about any of their basically units through the first 3 games. So the fact that they did what they were supposed to do, they got Russell Wilson benched for a rookie. They held Malik Neighbors down. Wan'Dale Robinson didn't get deep. Like, the Chiefs defense did what they were supposed to do for the first time this year. And it was great to see, and it was dominating. I mean, Chris Jones had a sack. Karlaftis had a sack. We actually had a couple interceptions.
The goalpost had a catch.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's the Giants, and a lot of decision-making, play calling, like, it is still the Giants. But they did, and again, I know they did it against the Cowboys, but they still just came off almost a 500-yard effort in the air, which I thought was going to be closely matched because Chiefs secondary hasn't exactly blown anyone away this year. But it was just a good whole defensive unit. They did. They played good for the first time.
He actually played good for the first. That's what she said.
That is what. But they did. We got pressure. We forced turnovers. We stopped the run. I think it was like 80%. Like, we finally starting to just feel comfortable, and 20-30% it's the Giants. I did see a lot of Giants people were like, oh, they got their all-pro left tackle back this game. Now you guys are really screwed. And I'm like, okay, you're still the Giants.
But he still looked good.
He looked okay.
He was on a pitch count, hadn't played in a year and a half.
But you got to, again, and you guys are Denver fans, so you're going to hop on board and like, it's still Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Like, you know what his QBR was in this game?
It had to be negative.
Trash.
6.5.
Yeah, and again, like, some of it's credit to defense, but like, this looked like Denver Russ, not the prior week against Dallas Russ. Like, and I think that's where we're at with Russ now. Like, there might be a game or two where he looks like he's in Seattle, like, pumping out Super Bowls again. But most weeks he's going to look like he's playing for Denver again. And luckily, maybe he was seeing some ghost from his time in Denver playing Kansas City. Who knows? But he was bad. Yeah. I will credit some of it to scheme, to pressure, but a lot of it's decision making. You can just look at what my brother said. The goalpost had some catches and some targets. That was atrocious. That I don't know an NFL court. Honestly, speechless. But yeah, I'm giving the defense, Austin's aerial defense, to the Chiefs. They finally looked good. Hopefully, that's a sign of things to come defensively, because we're definitely going to need them against Baltimore this next week. Because whether you think Lamar is a great thrower of the football, he's significantly better than Russell Wilson across the board. Derrick Henry is basically Cam Scatterboo. Just kidding. But
I mean, he almost beat you guys. If he would have scored one more time, I don't know. That'd have been funny. Yeah,
exactly. So hopefully it's a thing to come, but obviously Raiders and Chargers and Broncos weren't going to get a defensive award this week. So the Chiefs holding, Giants down on the road, getting their first win ever at that stadium. It was kind of nice, but they also played well defensively, not offensively. Offense get no awards. Defensively, they got my award this week.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is, and obviously it's the aerial attack, but overall the Chiefs didn't look very good for 3 quarters. So, their offensive, that is, I should say. I mean, you had Andy Reid chesting up to Travis, which was awesome to see. And I think that kind of, that was right before halftime. And then obviously when the Chiefs came out in halftime, they actually put a drive together. and that kind of reminisced of, hey, that's the Chiefs offense right there. Like he was getting the ball out quick. He was getting guys going. Thornton.
And we ran the ball that drive.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, we know it's there. Now are you going to be able to sustain that? Mm-hmm. And it was a good get right game for the defense because it's going to be a lot different this week. 1-2 Ravens, 1-2 Chiefs. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
See, Raiders, you're right there with the AFC elites.
That's what
okay. What week 7 is when we see you guys? Okay, this will be interesting.
Yeah, no, it was kind of good. George was flying around.
Loved it.
Yeah, he was a difference maker in that game for sure.
You were starting to see some good things from that, and I think was it Noel Williams. Noel Williams. You know, these guys are starting to get into a rhythm, getting into it now. Again, yes, it's rust, but at the same time, football's a confidence game.
Yep.
Chiefs hadn't looked confident in the first 2 weeks, and then for the first majority of this game, they didn't look confident. So to see them be able to come out and look how they were doing and what they were able to do on defense, I mean, yeah, it was well deserved. So, is that the turning point of the season, or is it just based on who the opponent is? Well, you're going to find out soon,
fast,
because Derrick Henry is on a fumbling machine right now. He's going to be looking. I mean, we could sit here and say he's looking to obliterate somebody, but at the same time, you got to hold on to the ball first. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is a winnable game for the Chiefs. I mean, neither one of these teams are kind of coming in confident. So I look forward to be a typical Chiefs-Ravens game. I look forward to seeing what the Chiefs defense is able to do and if that confidence carries over against Lamar.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is, just in my opinion, I think this is the best that the Chiefs secondary has looked since they lost to Jarius Sneed. They obviously struggled since losing him. And look what they did. They picked off Russ Wilson, twice, 2-3 times?
2 times, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're stepping up and making plays, and that's what you want to see in that secondary, because that's where they really struggled last season. Mm-hmm. And, it looked like they were kind of clicking. Everyone's getting into their rhythm. Everyone's working well together. They're meshing together. Everyone knows each other's assignment. And that's good. That's a good sign because, like everyone said, you guys have the Ravens coming up next week. They're looking to bounce back. You guys are looking to maintain that rhythm. So it's going to be fun to watch. And, little stat for you. Pat Mahomes is actually 4-1 against the Ravens in the regular season. So will we see 4-2 or are we going to go to 5-1? It really depends on how the defense is going to do. And I think Andy Reid is really good at exploiting that weakness. We already pointed it out. Derrick Henry has now fumbled every game so far. And that's not like Derrick Henry. So you can, expect. Thank you, JBW Solutions. See, look at that. Providing simple solutions on and off the gridiron. Anyway, his source is from trustmebro.com. But sorry, getting back to my point though, like you're gonna need that George Karlaftis that we saw on Sunday night. You're gonna need to see it here. And if he has a game anywhere remotely close to what he did on Sunday, and he can apply that against Derrick Henry, you're gonna see like this defense, the Chiefs in general, just find that spark. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to see how they build off of this.
Yeah, I
was just going to say real quick, what the Ravens defense is absolutely ass right now.
It's so embarrassing.
It's not the Ravens defense that we're used to seeing. So there's absolutely chances for the Chiefs offense to continue to build, and I think it could end up being another big Thornton game. If Worthy might be back, but at the same time, if he's not, I still think you can build on it. We saw Juju get involved. We saw, Hollywood get some, but Thornton looked kind of what he had been talking about the last couple of weeks of get Thornton the ball because he's open. And so again, they're getting the Ravens at absolutely a great time, especially when you're kind of a down team yourself. This is an absolute opportunity to absolutely destroy the Ravens secondary.
Yeah, and talk about kind of eliminating one of your before the season threats of the playoffs, right? Like if Chiefs right the ship and make the Ravens go 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know the AFC North isn't exactly going to be too competitive now with Burrow gone and the Browns. So So it won't eliminate them, but you have a really good chance of really hurting one of your before the season threats at a playoff run. Now, obviously, things have changed, but one of these two teams is really going to be hurting at 1-3. So I know they're both 1-2, but it's a huge game for both of them.
Yeah, I honestly too. I think this is a huge confidence booster just in the fact that the Giants are an up and coming team, and we can say, just like Jeff pointed out, Russell Wilson is not playing very well. And this is a great confidence booster for the Chiefs to like just say we can get back on track. Because what does everyone say in the NFL, which is winning cures all. So you get a win under your belt, get some confidence. Now, just to your point, Austin, if the Chiefs beat the Ravens, and I still think the Ravens are a pretty formidable team in the AFC, regardless of defense. Like their offense arguably is like within the top 10 just because of how they can run the ball with Lamar or Derrick Henry. And then also their passing game has gotten a lot better. So I feel like that they can stretch the field and really confuse some defenses. Now, if their defense can just stop a nosebleed, they might actually be the number one team in the NFL. But, if the Chiefs can take care of business and beat the Ravens, which they're known to do in the regular season, I would not be surprised if the Chiefs go on a run, because now they have that confidence of like, we can not only keep up with teams that we need to take care of, but also top teams in the AFC and now carry on. And we even talked about this too, that it may only take 10 wins to get into the wild card. And like with how the Broncos are doing, maybe they get to 10 or 11 wins, just depending on how the season falls. And same with the Chiefs. Like, we don't know what they'll look like when they have Rashee Rice or when they get Thornton now more involved, which each week he has gotten more targets and more trust out of Mahomes. And he's a deep threat who can run routes. So that's dangerous in and of itself. And whenever their offensive line gets healthy, who knows what they develop into. And I do think that their defense, again, when they have a lead, they play far better. That's how they win games, is with a lead. They never had a lead against the Eagles, so the defense was playing a little bit desperate. And this one, once the lead got to, I think it was 16-6 in the third quarter, and they had that nice little lead and they were comfortable, that defense turned on the gas and they've got pressure in a hurry to Russ. And he looked worse in the second half. And if it wasn't for dump-off passes to Scatterbo, I don't think the Giants wouldn't have gotten past half field or, the 50-yard line. I think that they would have been stuffed for a majority of the game, because that defense was really putting it on them. If it wasn't for a couple of plays here and there, Malik Neighbors had 7 targets, only caught 2 passes because Wilson was not accurate with the football at all. Like couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He was not doing it at all. So I do think that if the Chiefs take care of business against the Ravens, we could be talking about the Chiefs getting back on track and again being back to what they've been doing, which is why we've all been hesitant to say the Chiefs are out of it, even though they started off the season 0-2. They're now 1 win from being 500, and so who knows where that all stands and what kind of streak they go on for the rest of the season. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah, if they can just right the ship until we get Rashee Rice back, I think that takes the offense, especially with Thornton's development.
Yeah,
I think you're spot on. So just right the ship until then and see what happens.
And again, leave it to an Andy Reid led team to not panic, get under control, get in Travis Kelce's face to get him to, show up. And he did respectively. But for the most part, like Patrick Mahomes, if ever there was an MVP candidate, I think it's Herbert and Mahomes, because Mahomes right now out of 3 weeks, like literally been doing it on his own, it seems like. And again, that's what he needs to do to keep the Chiefs in the race, in my opinion. So
yeah, I mean, if the MVP was actually like who was the most valuable to a team,
yeah, it'd be Mahomes.
By far beat Mahomes, but the MVP is actually a statistical game,
right?
Word. So I agree with you to an extent, but I still think it's Herbert and Allen right now. But if it was actually who's the most valuable to their, like if you took Mahomes off the Chiefs, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're toast. Probably the last 10 years we were toast, but yeah, I agree. He's been playing phenomenal, even if the numbers. That's why the numbers lie sometimes. But if you just watch, he's Superman out there.
Yeah. All right, Cory, it's time for your crossfire. Hit us with your Seggy.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to go 2 different ways. First, I'm gonna keep this short and simple. Broncos country. calm your ass down, chill out. We're fine. Now, the actual Crossfire part of this is Bo Nix. This loss is solely on Bo, and I think Bo knows this as well. We see a clip of Bo during towards the end of the game saying, I missed a ton of throws. We get it. So I just need to just calm down, just relax. You're trying to do too much. You're trying to be Superman. You don't have to be Superman. I was actually impressed with how Sean Payton schemed up some things. Now I still would like to see J.K. Dobbins get more than 11 carries because he's going to get 100 yards. He's like, just run the ball. Seriously, 11 carries the whole game. Like, get him 15 touches on the ground. Get him a couple in the air. Let him get going. But for Bo, I need to see you calm down. I need to see you set your feet a little bit. Trust your offensive line. Those guys up front, I know they're struggling at times. I get it. But you got to just set your feet. Or if you're indecisive on if you're going to make the throw, use your legs. There were times where you pulled the ball down, you ran the ball, you did really well. I still think that's a huge part of your game. Keep using it. Don't rush it. Don't say last second, oh, I'm going to throw, and then just completely jump throw and overthrow your receivers. It's really hard to overthrow some of these guys. So he's putting a little too much juice into these. I'd much rather see him underthrow some of those. But again, I get it. But that's 3 touchdowns because all 3 of those guys were wide open. They catch it, they go. And then that last play to Sutton is kind of the dagger to it of just set your feet, release the football. He had him burnt. He was fine. So, Bo, for this week, man, this is a must-win for the Broncos. I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's a must-win. You cannot lose to the Bengals with Jake Browning because then you're going to Philadelphia. Man, there is a nice little stretch coming up. So I think if you can weather the storm and you can get out of this stretch 2 and 3, I'm actually happy with that because then you go New York, Dallas, or New York. I don't remember who that other game was against, but they're winnable. So you've got to take care of it. But I also need the Broncos country just to calm down just a tad. All right. We don't know. We don't need to look at drafting quarterbacks next year. No, we don't need to look at starting Jarrett Stidham this season. Relax, calm down. We're going to be fine. I do still trust Bo Nix. I still do trust Sean Payton. I know, Matt, you may still feel the same. It's hard to have faith in Sean and Bo right now. That was the heat of the moment. It was kind of, after another absolute dagger shot, losing on another field goal. So I'll go ahead and open it to you. Are you still feeling that, or how are you feeling now that we're a couple days out from that game?
I would definitely say it was a knee-jerk reaction, and I want to say it's like we talked about earlier. It's frustration. Also, we have our Chargers super fan in the chat. Howdy to her. But it was definitely a knee-jerk reaction, and it's because, like I talked about before, the frustration. You're seeing the same things over and over and over again, and insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting change. It's not going to happen. So I know the loss is definitely on Bo, but you got to put Sean Payton in the mix. Now, again, to answer your question, no, I haven't lost faith in him, but it's frustrating to see the same things. But I'm putting some of the blame on Sean Payton because now, like I said, this team is getting predictable. Every single drive, there's a screenplay on 2nd or 3rd down. Nobody's buying it anymore. I did not see too many play action, bootlegs, nothing. You're avoiding the run in the first half. And then by the time you get the run going in the second half, it's like the end of the 3rd quarter going into the 4th. Dobbins is actually having pretty productive games. Get him going early.
Yep.
Change up your play calling. I'm not saying don't ever throw a screen ever, but let's not make it obvious that one is coming. And even on the defensive side of the ball, they blitz 71% of the time. Justin Herbert, this is the most pressure he's felt in his career. But teams are picking up on it. They did it last week with the Colts. They did it on Sunday with the Chargers. The Broncos blitz because they know we don't have any linebackers that can cover a running back, and they leak them out into the flats. And now you got, what was 3rd and 15 is now 1st and 10.
I don't know how many times I said something to him about those running backs in the flats. It's like the teams are going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Also, too, didn't you guys draft R.G. Harvey to have a different dynamic on the running back? And I think he's on kickoff duty. I don't even see him in the rotation, it seems like.
He had 2 carries for 2 yards.
And a catch. But again, it goes back to Matt's point of the screen. I mean, it's not a screen. It's more of a kind of a halfback angle route that he was able to throw for like 3 yards. But he's getting the Marvin Mims treatment right now, so he's going to have to earn his stripes. But I'm not calling for RJ Harvey right now, just based on what I've seen from J.K. Dobbins. I want more J.K. Dobbins. I'm saying 15 carries and at least 6 targets, not screens.
Exactly. And then, to going back to Bo Nix, he's seeing ghosts in the pocket. Yeah, the offensive line is not nearly as good as what they were last season, but there's been times where he's had a pretty clean pocket and he bails out of it. And he's not setting his feet. He's not squaring his body up with it, with this target. He's just kind of letting her rip and his feet are planted. And now he's getting these inaccurate throws. And some people are blaming Marvin Mims for dropping that flea flicker. I'm like, that wasn't on Mims. That was clearly overthrown. Like, he got fingertips on, and everyone's like, oh, you touches your hands, you got to catch it. But you can't catch with your fingertips, man. You got, it'd be one thing if it was in the palm of his hand and he dropped it, sure. But he's overthrowing these dudes because he's not using his mechanics. His mechanics have been all over the place. So, Cory, like you said, Knicks, you need to calm down, chill out, go back to your mechanics, go back to the basics, relax, trust your receivers, trust your line, trust your coach, and trust your abilities to make plays. Just relax. I
know it's Sean, but at the same time, I love Davis Webb. He's always over there with Davis Webb. I know Davis Webb sees this, and I know Davis is probably careful on what he tells Bo, obviously, based on Sean's offense, right? But I would still like to see Davis, show him some of this stuff. Say, hey, look at this clean pocket right here. Look where you're throwing. Like, look where your feet are. Like, I trust that they're going to get this right. Unfortunately, I need them to do it this week because we don't lose to the Bengals, please. For the love of God, don't lose.
Browning.
To go to what Matt said, though, with mechanics, if you look at that final touchdown by Herbert to Keenan Allen.
Beautiful throw.
Well, and he was getting pressure, right? And then even when he was throwing it, Benito was hitting his arm. But Herbert got his feet set, his body turned, and all his mechanics were flawless, that even with the hand in his face hitting his arm, it was still a perfect throw. Again, it's mechanics. It's things that are fixable. You don't need to go to Stidham. You don't need to draft a quarterback. A little more coaching. This is still, year 1 and 3 games into his career. Like, it'll be okay, but he does need to slow down and kind of just go back to the drawing board, because that's all it is. Not a lot of quarterbacks are going to throw perfect 50-yard dimes on a jump throw. I don't even know if Patrick would do that. Let's be honest, that's just not how you throw 50-yard passes with jump throws. So it's fixable. It's no reason to call for Jared Stidham. The Chargers are right now a good team. There was plays to be had. Both teams made them. Chargers just made a few more. And I think it came down to Herbert made a few more than Bo did. And, that's going to happen in the NFL. And I don't think it's no reason to just throw Bo Nix out to the woodshed yet. That's just – it's different if you guys are sitting here and you guys are like 2-13, down the road, then a conversation could definitely be had. But it's 1-2, 2 last-second field goals, which means you've been in games. You're right. It's okay. Let's not check the season up to a full L yet.
And it's still obviously year 2. So he's going in, he's 1 full year, a couple games in. So I go back to Denver's got to find ways. They got to learn how not to lose. And obviously right now, last second field goals, so they're not quite there on finishing games yet. There was multiple times in the fourth quarter where Denver had a chance to absolutely salt that game away. And they're still trying to throw the ball 20 yards down the field instead of using the running backs that we have. I would say go ahead and run the ball 3 straight times. See what happens.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. So, again, until they learn how not to lose, we may end up seeing more of these last-second field goals unless, the offense can get it together and they can figure out, in that clutch moment when you need those. Chiefs have done it the last 8 years. In the fourth quarter, it's a big third down. You need to get a stop, but the Chiefs just find a way to continuously move the chains, move the sticks. So before you know it, that last drive, they've wrapped up the final 6 minutes of the game just based on they're able to pick up those first downs when needed. That's championship culture. That's what championship teams do. So Denver's got to learn how to find ways to continuously have that lead in the fourth quarter and then just go on an absolute just killer drive. I'm going to start calling them Lions-esque drives on that 98-yard drive that had like 20 plays last night for 11 minutes. So figure that part out. So that's it for my crossfire tonight. Cody, do you have anything?
I mean, what my only other point would be is to just keep in perspective, and Matt, I'll credit you for this when you were talking me off the ledge about my Raiders, is Bo Nix is second-year quarterback. He just finished his third week in his second year. And, say what you want about his mechanics. Yes, he wasn't throwing the ball with his feet set and all this. But I would also say, too, with how the high stakes with a divisional game will make you play differently, good or bad. And I think Bo Nix is going to go back to the drawing board and just see, hey, I need to be better on this. I need to be better on that. That's just going to make him a better pro in the rest of this season, maybe even future seasons, and sure, some things could have gone better. Sean Payton could have called things a little different. I will say when he started the second half, I think it was 3 straight runs, and I think Dobbins had broken off a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, on that drive. So it does work, but I will say, Nix, it's growing pains, not to tell you what you told me, but I mean, clearly you can see that Nix is the guy for the job. This game just seemed to be where maybe he was trying to do too much, and that's just him wanting to make sure he didn't lose the game for his team, but he needed to trust the play calling, trust his guys. But also I would say for Sean Payton, instead of throwing it 30 yards down the field when you need to just run the clock out and not give the Chargers a bunch of opportunities, maybe see if we can get Bo into rhythm instead of him trying to make magic when he hasn't hit anyone on a deep cross route. Let's see if we can get a little bit more easier, in rhythm throws to get Bo some confidence. And again, I think too, the Chargers are just a team that are on a tear this year. They're off to a hot start, and everyone is feeling it. The Chiefs felt it. The Broncos just had it. And obviously us on this screen have lost to the Chargers this season. And they're just a good team that the Broncos just will see them in week 17, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But I do think you guys get back on track against the Bengals. They didn't look great this past Sunday. I think the Broncos defense is going to want to tear some heads off. So I suspect Jake Browning, he's going to be in for a long Monday night. So,
and I will say before we move on to Matty Segi, complete opposite of how the Raiders fans feel. I don't feel anywhere near that as a Broncos fan. I actually still think Broncos will be just fine, and I still do think they have a chance to win the AFC West still. But
right. Well, you know the difference between where we're at right now, right? You guys have a franchise quarterback. You guys have an offensive line that you can run the ball with, and you have a defense that you can lean on to help with games. The Raiders don't have either of that right now. Right. So that's why it feels like we're floating off into nothingness in the ocean of despair. And you guys are listen, it's one game. It's against a good team. We can get back on track. And for us, it's I've seen this song and dance before. I've seen how this movie ends, and it looks like it's playing out the exact same way as it did last year. So that's why it's are we done with this? Because it's tiresome.
Yeah. Let's get into some MILFs.
MILF.
And last but not least is the MILF report. And going into week 4's games, it's actually going to be 2 players matching up against each other. And I'm going to say one is going to be George Karlaftis and Derrick Henry. Again, just the game that Karlaftis had last week and the game that Henry had, and, with his fumbles, he's looking to bounce back. Karlaftis is looking to build off of that momentum that he had. It's going to be fun to watch them go at it. They're 2 phenomenal athletes, and watching them play against each other is always fun. I'm interested to see how they're going to handle each other, how they're going to square up against each other, what the play calling is going to be when they're on the field. It's going to be fun to watch. So that's going to be one of my matchups to watch. The next one, Jake Browning is the quarterback, but Jamar Chase and Pat Surtain, that is probably one of the the best cornerback wide receiver battles to watch, just because both of them are so talented. They're both really good players. They're both great at what they do. But I'm going to give the edge to Pat, not because he's a Bronco, but the inconsistencies from the Bengals offense. If you look at them week 1, I think Chase only had 12 yards to his name.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week, you know, he puts up 100 some odd yards with a touchdown. And then last week, again, same thing, like 30 yards to his name. So like there's inconsistencies there. So what kind of Chase are we going to see, and how is that going to get handled? But then on the other side of the ball, you got T. Higgins and Riley Moss, and Moss has not been doing well. We all saw what happened last season. That's what I'm really nervous about, is them exploiting Moss. And I'm really nervous about it. I want to say the Broncos are going to win. I still think they're going to win, but if Browning can figure out that Moss is the weak link in that secondary, and T. Higgins has another game like he had last season against Moss, I'm really skeptical. So, Corey, I kind of want to hear, you being the other Broncos fan, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so Riley Moss is the highest targeted corner in the NFL right now for obvious reasons. I think it was like an 80 QBR against him. We all know what happened last year, and you can't have multiple hands out there. I get it. I do, and I would really like to see what Jahdae Barron can do. I would like to see him get out there and match up with T. Higgins and let Pat kind of do his thing with Jamar. But I know obviously Pat doesn't shadow most of the time. He stays one side, so he gets Jamar some, he gets T. Higgins some. So it was literally whoever Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan, whoever those guys were on, that's who Joe Burrow was throwing to last year. I don't see that game plan being any different. But I also look at Chase Brown. I think, yes, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are great, but we've seen what Denver's linebackers do against the running backs. And I think the easiest way for Browning to do this is using his checkdowns, his hot reads. Get Chase Brown going up the flat, do a wheel route. You could probably even do a couple screens right there, get Alex Singleton or Strnad matched up with him. So while I do think you're spot on as far as Pat Shanahan, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins and Riley Moss, I'm kind of going in the direction of what's their running backs going to do, because that's obviously been Denver's kind of weak point as far as covering those. But yeah, at the end of the day, I want to see Jahdae Barron. I want to see what he's able to do, because we passed up a lot of good players to get this guy. So yeah, here's your test. Good luck.
Yeah, and that was my point too. Before I get to you, Austin, was, you know, you drafted, and this was a player, nothing against Jahdae Barron, but this was a player that I said, like, they didn't need a cornerback right away, and they went and got after a cornerback in the first round, and he comes in for 1 to 2 snaps, and then you don't see him for the rest of the game. Chris Abram-Drain is another one who I think has already showed he can go toe to toe with some of these guys. Give him a shot. Let him see what he can do. He's got long arms. He's fast. He's already had a pick against Justin Herbert last season. So again, he's shown he can go toe to toe with these guys. And like you said with Barron, I want to see what he can do. I know he's a physical receiver. I want to, you went after him in the first round for a reason. Put him on the field. So that's my take on it. But, you know, Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think my days of having Riley Moss's back are over. In my defense, he was an okay corner before his injury last year, and then he came back and was
some of his he had good coverage in some of that Chargers game.
He fits exactly what the Chiefs like in corners. Before we play or any game we don't play Russ, we love corners who are always in position but just don't make the play. Like Riley Moss is almost always there, but he's not making a play except for the tackle, which isn't very good as a corner. You kind of want to make a play on the ball and prevent a reception. So my days of defending him are over. He's in a good spot. He's with his man, but his only play he makes is to make the tackle instead of making a play on the ball or, you know, interception or PBU or anything. And that's what I noticed against the Chargers was he was always in pretty good coverage, but he did nothing to play the ball. So that's not good as a corner. So why you wouldn't continue, or why you wouldn't decide to play your first round pick a little more, just see what you got. Because at this point, he can't be worse. Like, I guess he may not be making the tackles, or he may not be as close in coverage, but then at least you know Riley is the best you got, right? Like, at that point, at least give it a shot. But Jahdae Barron is more of a ball hawk anyway. Like, it's kind of one of the things he was known for again, and you don't know in the NFL, but I think offenses are too smart to where wherever Pat Surtain is, they're just going to go where he's not. And the Bengals have people to do that with. They don't have to force feed one receiver because they have multiple weapons. So, yeah, they're going to have to either have a good scheme, give Jahdae Barron a shot, or do something, because we've seen Jake Browning be a good quarterback before, even if last week it wasn't necessarily seen. They're going to have to figure it out. Because between not throwing at Pat Surtain and just attacking Denver's linebackers, Bengals can get some offensive rhythm going. And any offense in the league, you get a rhythm going. It doesn't matter how good the defense is. Once an offense is in rhythm, it's scary.
And it's funny that you say that about, Riley Moss is where, he's where he needs to be, but he's more concerned about, making the tackle. Because one of the breakdowns I did, I put that final touchdown to Keenan Allen. Moss was in great position, but he's too busy hand fighting and grabbing and trying to, get that little hip bump in. And if he just looks for the ball, he had a chance, not even to make a pick, but just to bat it away.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's great that I'm not the only one that sees that. So,
Cody, I thought that last play too, I'm like, he was so busy doing all of that his attempt at batting the ball away was just late. Like, he was so occupied doing other things and focusing on other. Bro, you're in the end zone. Your tackle don't mean shit here. Like, tackle him in the end zone. That's fine. He still caught the ball. But I noticed that too. I'm like, you are in position. Your attempt at going at the ball was just so late and behind because you weren't focused. You were too busy playing grab ass that breaking up the pass just didn't matter. So you're not the only one that sees that. I'm sure a lot of Broncos fans see it, but they may just have more hatred towards it.
Cody, your thoughts?
Listen, I think if you guys wanted to go for a cornerback in the draft, you guys should have just drafted Will Johnson, because quick reminder, he fell in the second round, and Barron was chosen over him, and he's doing pretty well in Arizona. Imagine if you had him opposite of Surtain. That's if you guys were thinking defense.
I would still take Barron over Will Johnson.
Based on
really?
What?
Yeah, based on the style of play.
Will Johnson's big and physical.
Nah,
he is.
I still take Barron.
That's fine. That's fine. I think
that's a crossfire for another day.
Yeah, I think with the Surtain and Chase matchup, I think first off, the Jonathan Cooper and Benito, they're going to probably get to Browning to where he's not even going to get the ball to Chase. Chase is probably going to have all the targets, but he's probably going to catch the ball like 3 times. And I think a matchup I'm curious to see is what Henley of the Chargers does against the offensive line of the Giants now with Jackson Dart as their starting quarterback. So I'm curious to see how he matches up, because, Henley is in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. And I think, Benito could be in that conversation for sure. Karlaftis could be in that conversation. Ironically enough, like all of the AFC West, defensive players could be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, but Henley specifically has been doing a killer job on the defensive side for when he went against the Raiders and, of course, against the Broncos. So I think, Henley against that defensive line of the Giants would be very interesting, in my opinion. I do think, though, that the Chiefs going up against the Ravens, though, especially Karlaftis going against that offensive line of the Ravens, is another matchup that's very interesting, because if the Chiefs can neutralize Lamar and contain somehow Derrick Henry, I think we're looking at a pretty dangerous Chiefs defense for the rest of the season.
It's not a matchup like I'm excited to see, because I think it'll be good. I don't know if Orlando Brown's healthy, but if he is, I'm going to be really excited to watch Denver's edge rushers absolutely obliterate him.
I don't know how healthy he is, to be honest.
I don't either, but if he's healthy, I will be excited to watch him just get tore up all Monday night.
Yeah, I think we need to find out what the line is for sacks that the Broncos will have on the Bengals. I don't know if like the line is set at like 4.5. Take the over.
I do expect Benito to come away with 2.5 sacks.
If Orlando Brown's healthy, bump that number up.
Well, I think Denver's. I think Denver could. I think you could see Denver go back to what they were able to do against Cam Ward week 1. But I do expect Benito to kind of add to his sack total this weekend or Monday night.
Mm-hmm. I think Benito, Cooper, and Zach Allen all have 2+ sacks.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking Cooper, Benito, and Allen all have a field day. But.
Very likely. Yeah.
Before we get into our fantasy frenzy, do we want to make predictions real quick then?
Yeah, so simple for me. Broncos are going to take it over Bengals. I'm going to go Bears over Raiders. I don't trust them right now, so I got to go Bears.
If you want to know, I've already made the graphic for it, just seeing if I had people's picks right.
Yeah.
This first week, I thought you weren't going to pick the Raiders, so I think I got to pick them.
Yeah, and then obviously I've picked the Chiefs this week. I think they were my only win. No. So I'm a stick with the Chiefs.
No,
and then
you picked the Chargers.
Oh, did I pick the Chargers?
Yeah, you got a couple of them.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Chargers again because they're playing, I think, a pretty easy team. So
yeah. So you're gonna pick the Chiefs again?
Chiefs and Chargers, Bears and Broncos. So I'm picking everyone in the AFC West except for my Raiders.
Damn, I thought you were gonna be picking the Ravens.
I wanted to, and I still feel like the Ravens have a good shot. But again, we were just talking about their defense has not been great. And honestly, like the Chiefs don't have to beat you with going over the top. They can beat you by a bunch of paper cuts. Essentially, that's how they were able to have good success offensively the last 2 seasons. Is they're not throwing it over the top like they had Tyreek Hill. It's more of like short intermediate passes that have been moving the drives. I feel like that's what they're going to do. And especially if the Ravens can't stop anybody, like I feel like the Chiefs are going to play their game and the Ravens will just be playing from behind. I don't know how the Ravens kind of come back from 2 collapses in 3 weeks. So,
yeah, that's fair. I'm picking the Ravens still. I don't think the Chiefs have. I still just don't think the Chiefs have enough offensively. Like if they start slow like they did against the Giants, I think the Ravens can kind of take control of that game with Derrick Henry and Lamar running.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs have to come out quicker than they have in the last like year and a half. So I'm picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Bears, picking the Chargers, picking the Broncos. So yeah, I'm picking the Broncos by a lot. That's my like lock of the week.
I would watch out. That might be not a trap game, but like probably closer than you think. I will say though, I think Thornton for the Chiefs is going to have a career game against the Ravens.
That's my fantasy. Y'all talking about him?
I think he goes off. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm also going Ravens. It's because Derrick Henry. In the end, it always comes down to Derrick Henry. I think he is obviously the difference maker. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs do win this. But I am still going Baltimore. I'm going Denver. I am going to go Chargers, and I'm going to go Raiders. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going Bears.
I was gonna say, there's no way you believe that shit.
I was hoping Cody would have been like, yeah, no. That's the weak ass. Wow, dude, weak.
He's done.
Dude, I'm telling. I'm not done. I'm just like, okay, I can't trust the Raiders until they show me otherwise. If they come out, take care of business with the Bears, we're back. But if not,
we're back.
We're back. We'll be at 500. We'll be back.
We're back.
Kobe, we're back.
We're back, bud.
We're back.
Matt, your pick.
All righty. Well, starting with the Bears, Raiders. Sorry, Cody. I got to go with the Bears as well.
It's all right. Yeah. So you're all on the Bears.
We're all on the Bears.
Now here's a guy.
I mean, that's only a play Pat Mahomes can make to recover his own fumble, but which is why I think the Ravens are going to win. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bears. As far as the Chiefs and Ravens, yeah, the Chiefs are at home, and I want to say 4-1 against the Ravens, but I don't know. I I feel like the Ravens are going to have a bounce back game. I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. This is a game Denver should win, so I'm going to take the Broncos. And yeah, Chargers, that's just an easy pick. So
Yeah.
Sorry, Giants.
I think Jackson Dart's going to have a struggle game.
Dude, I would love Jackson Dart to come out and throw for like 475 and like 5 touchdowns.
Nah.
I didn't say it would. I said I would love it.
Yeah, not against the Chargers. I think that'll happen like against the Saints. But
Bro, I'm saying I would love for it to happen. Not that I think it will. You would also love for it to happen.
Yeah. Let's see. What does Mama Shovik say? Y'all need
something
to
about
remember
Slavs.
No, Slavs.
Slavs.
Whoa, easy, Mom.
Always had good game. Is she talking about Spags?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there she is. She did the correction.
There we go. Okay.
We don't have good game plans against Derrick Henry. The Ravens just don't use Derrick Henry against us.
That's true.
Yeah. Also, too, how do you game plan against Derrick Henry? You don't. You just hope that he fumbles the ball.
No, we don't. They don't use him against us. It's the craziest thing.
He averages 98.6 rush yards a game against the Chiefs. So
that was with the Titans.
Well, last year 13 carries, 46 yards. That was with Baltimore, obviously. With him, 17 carries, 115. His big game was that 23 carry, 188 game. So obviously that skews the stats just a tad. But again, if the Ravens would just continue to use Derrick Henry the correct way, he would wear the Chiefs defense down just like he does any other team. So
don't even say even when he was with the Titans, he was busting 220-yard games with the Titans against us because Vrabel did use them.
Yeah. So let's jump into our Fantasy Frenzy, sponsored by JBW Solutions, LLC.
Also the name of the War Room Studios now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Who's kicking us off?
I think I'll go since everyone's already said mine.
All right.
Yeah, it's Thornton.
What?
Oh, my gosh. I never saw it coming.
Well, you guys kept saying his name, and I didn't have time to
stop saying my guy's name.
Stop it.
I said it 4 times.
I didn't say anything when my brother said it because he didn't say anything, and then Cody came out and said he's going to have a career day, which is what I was going to say. Like,
I think so.
He just come out like 8 to 10 catches, like 160 plus yards, and like 2 touchdowns. Because he's fully going to be part. He's not just going to be a part of the game plan. He is going to be the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Chiefs' offense is going to run through him this week. Now it's a matter of if they connect on him or not. Who knows? But they're going to be dialing him up a lot, and so as long as they can connect on a few of them, he's going to go off.
Balls.
That too.
I'm going J.K. Dobbins. This is going to be the week he gets 100 yards. Denver's going to end our streak of non-100 yard running backs. Give me J.K. Dobbins for a hundy. Put him in I am putting him in my starting lineup this week, just because that's what I feel really good about this.
All right, and my sleeper pick for Fantasy Frenzy would be Trey Benson of the Arizona Cardinals, and that's because Connor, of course, is out for the rest of the season with ankle injury. Benson was already getting a lot of the shares on the offensive snap count and all that stuff. So Benson should be like a flex option, maybe even RB2 if you guys are in need of that, because there's a lot of injuries. And I had him stashed in a couple of fantasy leagues right now. So I would say Trey Benson is a guy you probably want to start in a flex RB2, but he would be my sleeper pick for the week.
And our all-time star, Matt Prater. Always start Matt Prater.
Absolutely. Always start Matt Prater.
He's a must start every week.
He would have hit that 67-yarder.
He absolutely would have.
I
want to ask him that so bad. like, would you just pimp that 67-yarder?
He would look normal. He would look like any other field goal.
Yeah, he does it so smoothly. It's like, did you even put any effort into it? He's like, I kicked the ball. I mean,
hit ball
through uprights.
Give me the replacements? Give me the ball. Kick the bloody piss out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go. Matty, who you taking?
I'm going to go Troy Franklin just because I think the Bengals secondary is trash. And I think Franklin's going to have more of a role this week than he did last week. And I can see Nick's taking a couple shots downfield and trying to hit Franklin. So I'm going to go Troy Franklin here.
There we go, Knicks. Get back on track game for the Knicks.
And you think last year he had a couple of those big-time throws. I mean, obviously Marvin Mims was on the end of that, but that could be Troy Franklin easily this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Bengals, everything is trash.
Yeah,
So
I think they're gonna have the
Except for Carl Pickens, he's not.
no.
Current
Carl Pickens is
Bengals.
the truth.
Get Carl back on here. I want to hear his take on this hot mess in Cincinnati right now.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure he has.
Maybe Monday a pregame show.
There
We're
we go.
working on it. We're working on it. Speaking of former guests, I know some homies might have been expecting Quentin Jammer. Life happens. We weren't sure if he was going to pop in or not, so we're holding off on it. But we'll work on trying to get our homie Quentin Jammer back in here again. For those of you who are expecting him, we were too. We were excited to share the MILF report with him, but we'll get that another time.
And we have
Things
guests
happen.
tomorrow.
We do have a guest tomorrow.
We do have a guest tomorrow.
Taylor Aarons.
Is it
Taylor-
Arnez?
Taylor A, not to be confused with Taylor S.
Is it Arnez?
No, the E is
Oh.
before the N.
Arnez?
A-R-E.
I before E, except
Either way,
God, I
either way,
hate
we
being
have a special
dyslexic.
guest tomorrow. And then
Raise your voice at me.
big time guest Friday. You guys want to talk about it?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
and
Austin.
Matt's going to be here too.
Matt's
I
our
will be
special
here.
guest Friday.
Yeah.
Matt's our
but
special
it's not
guest.
me. I'm just special. But anyway,
Yeah, our special guest, Christian Okoye, is going to
Nice.
be here Friday night, talking ball, talking his journey, talking his foundation. Definitely going to be a can't miss episode. We're obviously close to can't miss ourselves, but then you throw someone like Christian Okoye in there, and you're definitely going to tune in, like, subscribe, maybe ask him a question or two, see how life's going. But Christian Okoye is going to be in this exact JBW studio
Mhm.
Friday night. This Friday night with
It's gonna be
us.
very exciting. It's a busy week for the War Room, and also the following week too. We have a bunch of great stuff to announce next week too. So very, very exciting.
sorry guys, I won't be here.
That's okay.
That's the big news.
That's the big
That's
news.
the big,
That was
that's
good.
the big news.
Yeah.
I'm taking my talents to Fleet Week.
Thank you for your service, Matt.
Yeah. Cody, take us home.
All right, let's do it, guys. So first off, we want to shout out a couple of new partners that we have, which is Badger Barrel, as they sent us some great merch, and they sent the War Room these phenomenal smokers that all of us on Sunday got to use. We all had our own special little cooking thing that we were doing, and we have a new cooking channel or cooking Instagram page that the Shoviks have set up for us, and that's West War Room Cooking. So go follow that Instagram page, see what we got smoking in the Badger Barrel. What's the tagline, Matt? Be a badger, not a butterfly.
Yeah, so I think that's what their slogan is, but I kind of modified it. So in a world of butterflies, be a badger.
I like that much better. I'm gonna remember that now.
I'm gonna pitch it to them and see what they think.
You should see if you can get like a trademark on that or something.
Yeah.
All right. And then also too, guys, Shank It Golf, who's new partners with us. Austin has been repping a lot of their stuff. Yeah, there's a great picture of him on our Instagram with him got the golf glove, and I think he got a golf bag out of this mystery box that you can get. Special link in the bio to go ahead and get all that free merch or all that merch that you'd have to pay for. It's not free. It's free after you pay for it. So
It's free to get to the website.
It's free to get to the
fair
website.
enough.
Clicking is free.
Clicking is free. And then don't forget Beard Club, of course, Austin's glorious beard, where he told him he can't shave it because it's good luck for booking guests in the show. And so if we ever see him shave it, we're probably not going to be on the show any longer. So
And homage.
and homage, yes. Actually, they're sending us some free stuff. So as soon as we get it, but we have a special link in the bio for them as well. They are street apparel, sports forward, and also pop culture stuff. It's great. All their stuff is linked below. It's on our Instagram page and also on the YouTube channel that you're watching this episode on. And then, of course, our number one, our big time one named after the studio, JBW Solutions Studio and JBW Solutions LLC, huge partners, Jeff and the crew. Thank you guys so much. Lastly, shouting out Emporia Federal State Credit Union and also Field Op Troy. Woo, I think that's everybody, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching the War Room and being a part of it. We see everyone that's watching. We really appreciate the support and all the love. It's great to interact with you guys on social media, and we can't wait for the next one. So, guys, we will see you tomorrow. I'm so sorry, Corey. Go ahead.
Angie, it's Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Don't worry. Show's making a choice. We got your back, Angie. We love you.
So
Thank
sorry.
you.
That's on me, guys. That's on me. I'll be better. That's on me, y'all. That's on me.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much, Saul. We'll see you.